if you've never heard of the concept of bike shedding, it's an interesting one. Basically, the idea that in this hypothetical scenario, a city council is meeting to decide the details of a nuclear reactor that's going to be constructed, right? So, on the topic of the reactor itself, or any of the more complex aspects of it, that ends up being a minority of the time spent in the meeting. And most of the meeting ends up being spent discussing where to place the bike shed for storage of bikes on the facility. And the reason for this, even though it's like relatively unimportant compared to all of the aspects of nuclear security and feasibility and the cost and the amount of power it'll generate and things like that, the bike shed location is simply easier to comprehend and analyze and discuss. And so the layman can access it, which means that since it's so accessible, anyone can talk about it. So the majority of the city council will have an opinion on that, whereas they can't really have an opinion on the reactor itself or the more technical aspects of it. Which just makes me realize, like, a lot of us do this in our lives and in our businesses, where it's easy to focus on what is accessible and understandable. But the constraint in your business or life might be something that's much harder. Like maybe you have to go study for a few hours or do some research and learn before you can come and tackle the constraint, right? Maybe it's even tens or hundreds of hours. But that would unlock, 2x, 4x, 10x growth, right? It could be the thing that's holding you back from everything else. And so working on anything else is a waste of time until the constraint is removed. But it's kind of unintuitive. Like Alex Ramosi had a guy show up to an event and asked him a question about he said, can you go over your sales framework? And Alex was like, what's your close rate? And the guy told him, 40%. Alex was like, that's fine. You don't need to improve your sales. It's not the constraint. But the guy was a salesman and he loved to talk about and learn about sales, right? So he wasn't focused on the constraint of his business. He was focused on what was fun for him, what was comfortable. So we have to be willing to go outside of our comfort zone and focus on what's important to make progress. If we do what feels natural, which is focusing on the unimportant but accessible and comfortable, then we'll always kind of be stuck and we won't be able to make progress.